Hey everyone, it's a dose of Dr. Drew.
Special bonus episode. Thank you guys. Anthony Brown is the man. He is. That was yesterday, though. I think you must have Anthony Brown's picture up.
I had to change the name of the show. I didn't put it up, so I just stopped the stream and started again.
So we're up again. We may have the wrong name up there because today we have a couple things. I think the reason Susan decided it was a good idea to get up here today. Well, why don't you explain yourself? You're all of a sudden like, let's.
I'm trying to find the chat. So I'm feeling like we're breaking ground with some of these doctors that are using hydroxychloroquine, and they're talking about the use that they like it. And it's in the news, it's big. And I just feel like, we all have to have a conversation about this. And
then we're going to be attacked for it?
Well, I mean, we have some shows that were posted. And by the way, Ami Horowitz is here.
I was going to bring him in
the background
after I finish talking
but,
to you.
I really want to stop the hate on doctors that are trying to practice medicine, and also stopping streams that we did months ago because we talked to a doctor that used it, that found it effective. And I'm feeling like politically it's not all political for us.
It's not at all political.
And
zero political meaning. That's
and I feel like everybody around us who works for us is afraid to do anything, and they're like, be careful, you're gonna get in trouble. It's like, I don't know what I could get in trouble for. Like, if they take it off YouTube, you're gonna find it on Periscope, or you're gonna find it on Facebook. Other people are copying it and they're putting it out there. It's not gonna go away. Just like that horrible video of you at the very beginning that somebody else took and made and posted all over the world. So I mean, it's not as bad as that.
I'm not quite sure what you're getting at, but I'm trying to follow you. But let's get Ami Horowitz in here. Ami, do you know what she's talking about?
I have a sense of what she was talking about, yeah.
Okay. So
I'm hard to understand.
She's frustrated with the fact that we can't have public discourse about anything anymore.
Doctors.
No kidding.
Especially doctors.
She asked me to sit down and write a paper about this because she goes, you got to write it down. You got to write down what you're thinking. And the way I started the paper was describing what I would tell myself if I were a time traveler and showed up and talked to myself as a resident or when I was teaching medicine about today, and how confusing it would have been for me. I would not have believed what I was talking about. I couldn't have, because the way medicine works is we do lots and lots of publications, and we refine the studies, and we improve the studies, and we refine what it is we study based on how the studies progress. Then we replicate the studies. Then we apply things in the clinical world. Then we share ideas amongst ourselves and criticize each other. And then we reach a consensus. And that's it. That's how it works.
Mm-hmm.
That's such an antiquated way of doing medicine and science. Now it's all political considerations. Man, you're behind the time.
Yes, I must be behind the time. I must be behind
Politicization
the time.
of science is one of the great things that has happened to that industry.
You're going to make me cry, Ami. So,
I have no doubt.
It's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. And I'm just looking to be able to have discourse amongst my peers without intervening politicians, journalists, social media do-gooders. I have no horse in the race other than doing good for patients. That's it. That's all I'm interested in. I'm not signaling anything. I don't care whether it's voted up or voted down. I don't care. The fact is, there's some. As I write this paper, it's increasingly clear why we started using it early in the course of the disease, because there's a lot of good evidence that it should work. It clearly shouldn't work late in the disease. So the fact that it was studied late in the disease is kind of weird. It needs zinc to work, and all the publications so far don't include zinc. So we need to keep talking about this thing till we figure out a consensus that amongst
now,
our
there
physicians.
was a major study done on it that showed there was a lack of efficacy, but they then come out a few months later saying the data sets were all screwed up?
Yeah, that was the Lancet study, and that was a complete fabrication. That was done by an organization that doesn't do medical research and fabricated their data, and that was blown out. And the Lancet, this is a rare phenomenon, retracted the article and issued an apology.
So why did Fauci today, when he was asked about hydrochloroquine, specifically said there's zero evidence? He didn't say that there was mixed evidence. He said there was no evidence on the efficacy of hydrochloroquine. Why would he say that?
That's because that is literally true. That is a statement of fact. So there was a study published this week in the New England Journal of Medicine that showed exactly that. Now, it was in hospitalized patients, which no one thinks that should be the population we're using it on. It didn't include zinc, right? So no one's
which you need as a cocktail for
which
it.
we believe is necessary. Maybe not. We believe is necessary. And then I've got the article right in front of me right now, and let me read you their conclusions about their article. Ready? Although the point estimate of effect suggests no major difference, right, between the groups treated with hydroxychloroquine and not, with respect to primary outcome, the trial cannot definitively rule out either a substantial benefit of the trial or a substantial harm. Meaning we can conclude nothing, zero. So there's the gold standard test right now. It's not done with zinc, and they can make no conclusion from the test. That's
so therefore,
the state we're in.
You're safe by then swearing under oath that there's no efficacy for it.
There's zero
without
evidence.
Any context.
There's zero evidence.
Right. So
Not
he gave no
efficacy,
context.
Zero evidence. Yeah.
Right. He gave no context to that in his statement today in front of Congress.
Right. And this is the problem. People don't. He is accurate as hell all the time, but people don't understand that there's a lot of editing that goes into what he's thinking and what he says. For instance, right now, there's Amy Simon here on our chat stream is bringing out this Henry Ford study. And Susan emailed it to me today. And it's a good study. It's not placebo controlled. That's all. There's a lot of anecdotal studies out there, but that doesn't give us anything except anecdote. So at this moment, there is zero quality evidence. There is evidence though, good quality evidence that it's harmful late in the disease, which I think everybody would agree. And no one disagrees. It should not be used late in the disease process. It's not meant for that. It's meant for the earliest cases. And with zinc again. So,
you know what factually is true?
What's factually true?
This cocktail is amazing.
So, factually true is you're having a nice time. So, tell us what happened in Oregon when you were there in Portland.
Oh God, Portland's it's a wonderland. All you gotta do is just read the mainstream press, read CNN, the New York Times. They'll tell you it's a wonderful place where it's all peaceful. There's nothing terrible going on. If you believe that, I have a bridge to sell you in Brooklyn. I mean, the amount of media manipulation that is happening in regards to not just Portland, but all the main centers that we saw chaos and rioting it's beyond belief. I mean, the term mostly peaceful, right? You know that term? Everybody listening knows that term. That's the term. It's always mostly peaceful.
I just kept thinking O.J. Simpson was mostly not a murderer.
Correct. He
O.J.
didn't
Simpson
murder
was
24 hours a day.
Dude. Mostly a nice guy. Mostly a nice guy.
Correct. So what happens is during the day, nothing's going on. It all happens at 9 o'clock at night. That's when the whole thing begins. And they take over about 5 square blocks around which abuts the Mark Hatfield Federal Courthouse, right? This is a federal building that is owned and operated by the federal government. And what they begin to do is, there's about 5,000 people there. And of the 5,000 people, you have about 4,500 of them who are not engaging in violence, which means, if I could do my math, I'm never good at math, but about 500 people I calculated are engaging in actual violence. Mm-hmm. When I may say violence, I don't mean saying bad words. I mean they are throwing Molotov cocktails, commercial grade fireworks, literally incendiary devices meant to actually catch fire so the building can burn to the ground. And in fact, I captured on video the building on actual fire. And what happens is the other 4,500, mind you, are not trying to stop them. They're not trying to pull them back from the precipice. They are exhorting them to continue. They are cheering and clapping for them. And when the media shows the mothers, again, they have these mothers, T-shirts, they're all locked in arms. Mm-hmm. They are cheering for these people who are committing this violence. Okay. Yeah. So in my book, they are part of the riot. Okay. If you're not actively stopping them and you are cheering them on, in my book, you are part of the riot. And that's what's going on there.
It's so is it the same people every time? I also heard somebody got stabbed, like an African American journalist recently. Somebody was telling me about a video they saw. I don't know what to make of any of this, frankly, but it doesn't seem like whatever it is, it's not what the press portrays to us. Would that be true?
No, in fact, no, and not only that, I saw the press. There's press there. It's not like they're not there. I saw press there, and I saw their cameras down when the rioting was happening, and when the federal officers. By the way, the federal officers aren't even out there.
What's the matter?
I'm supposed to meet somebody in my office at 4:00. We're gonna have to cut this short. I completely.
That's okay. You have 15 minutes.
All right. God darn it.
Well, listen, my brother lives 4 blocks away from the riots, and my nieces both live there with their families, and they all seem fine with it. They're like, there's nothing going on, and then there's these really cool moms, you know. I mean, maybe they haven't been down the house.
That's what I hear from everybody living in Portland, like all the people, because remember they're all leftist, and every Uber driver
he's a socialist though. My brother.
They're all denying.
Maybe even a communist.
And when I first got there, I was like, okay, so maybe they're right. Maybe I got this wrong. And then I saw it with my own eyes. Look, I mean, I think the marks are gone away now, but I was attacked with glass when they recognized me. No, these are animals. These guys are animals.
I sent your video to my niece because she's probably she's from New York. She's just not there right now because she can't work. But I sent the video to her. I haven't gotten a response yet. So.
Oh, I'd love to know. I know she'll say, "Oh, he edited it out. He made it bigger than it is."
Mm-hmm. I think it was on Instagram. You had it on Instagram, right?
Yeah.
Well, Ami, I'm sorry, I completely forgot about something.
Who are you meeting?
I have 2 people I have to. Well, one of them is Bert Kreischer needs a CPAP machine, so I have to get him a CPAP machine, and then George needed some injections. I was going to work for him, so I completely forgot.
Well, are there any questions on the stream that you should address really quick? I'm sorry, Ami, but thank you for reporting that. I mean,
my pleasure.
I don't really talk to my brother much because he's very combative on every level. So I figured I'd just ask how he was and what's going on. And he sent me a video from Facebook that was like, oh, everything's fine. And these moms are great out in the street. And you know, look at this video. And it was just like, it was like a peace rally.
Yeah, all the moms were absolutely thrilled of the violence going on. I saw them, watched them. And by the way, you know, some of the even more, the video I have is pretty insane, but some of the crazier stuff, my cinematographer who I hired locally wouldn't shoot it. He kept putting his camera down. I had to tell him, start filming. He wouldn't film a lot of the craziest stuff. I mean, this is this is bad. A lot of the stuff you have on of the craziest stuff on the video, I had to take with my phone because he wouldn't take it with his camera because he's got a narrative he's trying to push. Oh, I see. Right? That's what comes out. And they're trying to, and they just want to show what the truth is about the violence.
Oh. Well, what about the spread of the coronavirus too? Like, do the moms not care about that?
No, coronavirus, don't you? God, you are so ignorant when it comes to medical
I know.
science.
I'm tone deaf.
Coronavirus doesn't exist during Black Lives Matter protests, Susan. Gee, you know nothing about medicine.
All right, Ami, listen.
Shit, I have to go.
I have to wrap it up. It's good to talk to you. We were chatting on the phone, and we took a while to get this going. We had some technical problems, but I'm going to let you go, and I'll call you again during the weekend, okay?
All right, buddy. Good to see you guys.
Thanks for coming in or popping in.
My pleasure.
Okay.
My pleasure. Bye, guys.
All right. So I want to wrap this up by just one of the reasons that motivated
Wait, let me get it. I have to get the right camera here.
Okay.
You're on.
Okay. So I one of the reasons I want to get on the air is that Susan was reacting to somebody who started threatening us for posting the interview.
Zelenko.
Dr. Zelenko, which
was a month ago.
So I thought it was important for me to get on here and clarify my position. I do think we are, and Ami's not helping things any. I am a super moderate. I'm neither right nor left. I have no signaling to anybody. I have no horses in any races. For me to be, and I think right now we're getting painted just because we talk to people on the right. So if I go on Fox News because they allow me on there, no pay ever on news, you're allowed to go on because CNN wouldn't let me go on, I'm seen somehow as supportive of that environment where I was just happening to go to express myself. Same thing here. We talk to people on the right. We need to bring more people in on the left, Susan's bottom line here. So we are more balanced.
I have some ideas. I think Dr.
Right.
Celine Gounder needs to come back.
Sure. She'd be great.
She's really good. She's not pro.
But somebody that really, if you guys have any ideas.
But she's also
an
an infectious disease expert.
Right, she'd be good.
And then Dr. Yadigar.
Yadigar's good. But anyway, if you guys have any recommendations, we want to talk to both sides. So it seems like, Zelenko suddenly, just because I talked to Zelenko and allowed him.
A month ago.
How dare I?
We got really lucky with that interview.
How dare I allow a physician to describe his experiences? How dare I? And that's it. So I sat down to write the paper about hydroxychloroquine, just so everybody can understand where this came from. And just for starters, I want you to understand that the idea of chloroquine, which was the medicine used for malaria for years, is now available over the counter in many countries because it's so commonly used for malaria, was we came up with a better chloroquine called hydroxychloroquine, less nausea, less side effects, less vision problems, that kind of thing. And in 2003, The Lancet published an article, 2003, saying chloroquine, known since 1934, apart from its well-known anti-malaria effects, the drug has interesting biochemical properties that might be applied against some viral infections. So in 2003, doctors started looking at the viral properties. Then several other publications came out. 2005, Journal of Virology, chloroquine is a potent inhibitor of SARS coronavirus and spread. So here in 2005, they began to study chloroquine, hydroxychloroquine, for 15 years on the benefits of that drug in the spread and the treatment of an easy, safe, inexpensive treatment for viral illnesses. Well, I will go through and paint for everybody all the different publications that came out. And the fact that I will tell you where it's gotten now. Where it is now is it's not used in hospitalized patients. There is no evidence that it's useful in hospitalized patients. There is some evidence that it may even be harmful, so people should not be using it in hospitalized patients. Although those studies did not include the active ingredient zinc. So even that's not conclusive, but I think it's a reasonable thing. As Dr. Fauci said today, no evidence in hospitalized patients. Lots of anecdotes with zinc in early disease. Many doctors, by the way, the most recent study was again on hospitalized patients without zinc, but the most recent study was published in the New England Journal this week, had difficulty coming up with enough patients because when people came to the hospital, all the patients were already on hydroxychloroquine. That's how common it is for doctors to prescribe it. And I read to Ami a little while ago, the conclusion of the study, the trial cannot definitively rule out either a substantial benefit of the trial drugs or a substantial harm. Meaning this trial, which is now the gold standard, can't say anything. So we are still a bit in the woods in terms of reaching a consensus and knowing exactly what to do with this thing. It should have no political valence. Journalists should not. You just learned how to pronounce this drug 2 weeks ago. I've been using it for 35 years. I've never seen a single side effect from it. I can't say that of aspirin or Tylenol. So there it is. That's the basic position. And to not allow people to talk about it and discuss it and physicians to reach a consensus, please. I am not saying you should or should not use it. I'm saying you should talk to your doctors and let he or she decide with you, and that's that. And you should have no opinion based on what journalists say or what politicians say. That is it. That is it. So anyway, I'll put out the whole article once I get the whole chronology out there for you. But I can tell you it started in 2003 with a Lancet study saying, there's some interesting antiviral properties. And then in 2005, when they started using it against SARS coronavirus in 2005. And the main reason is it's cheap and it's safe. And there were it's from a risk reward standpoint, you're not spending any money. You're not putting the patient in harm's way. It might work. That's the kind of thing that doctors often use. We do in all kinds of contexts before we have reached a full consensus on a topic. That happens a lot, particularly on psychiatric medications. Trust me, I've seen that for decades too. All right. So I have to wrap it up early, I'm sorry to say. Thank you guys for stopping by. I'm sorry I couldn't make it a longer stream. But Susan, you think we'll be around tomorrow or Sunday? Susan?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll do one from a remote location on tomorrow or Sunday. But for now,
we'll see you on Fox tonight.
So, who would you ban there? Bloop. How and why would you ban? Covering all the bases. Thank you. I just know what you're talking. It's hard to keep up with you guys. They like the sound today. They said it sounds better than usual.
Oh, really? Because I thought it was kind of echoey, good, but I don't know. Something
it's echoey for us, but it's good for them. That's
good,
really
good.
Important.
I'm
all
so
right.
glad.
So,
Somebody said something.
Hydroxychloroquine needs to be over the counter.
I thought we were
Lillian,
going.
I'm not convinced of that. I've used it many, many years for rheumatic diseases. It works extremely well. I've had people on it for literally decades. We tell them once a year you see an ophthalmologist because there's some risk of corneal deposits and a retinal problem that's very, very rare. I never saw that happen once, even though I made all the patients go see the ophthalmologist every year. Andrew, you're done with the IHME. Look at Andrew Ashkazvili. Look at they have a tab in the left corner on the infection rates that compares states and countries. Look at that tab in terms of actual infections and comparisons among states and countries. That data looks rather interesting. I think you might like that. The rest of it, I agree with you, I'm relying now on COVID tracking project. That's really where I am. Yes, I'm going to be late. So that's that, guys. Susan, thanks so much, and we will chat with you guys a bit tomorrow.
Real talk.
Headlines have become it's sickening. They become poisonous.
Dissecting headlines.
Defying state orders. Sheriff Bianco not enforcing what the governor is saying.
Dialed in with decision makers.
Clarify what you actually meant.
Get the answers you need.
Beginning of this, we were told don't wear a mask. Is this really helping?
Expect a different kind of newscast. Fox 11 News Special Report. Weeknights at 7.